Hello, everybody. This is Chazz Says Anything, NFL Divisional Round Picks. All right. Are you ready for some football today? If you like what you see where you're here, click the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay. So I got to show that banner first. Okay, so just subscribe. Okay. If you like what you hear and like what you see. So first, we got 4 games today. Okay. Now, most people might know what I'm going to pick. We'll see if you know. So first game we're going to go to. You got Jacksonville Jaguars at the Kansas City Chiefs today at 4:30 on NBC. First of our 4 games. So if you see here, I found an article real quick on the quarterback from the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. One of the stats that I've just found very interesting. Trevor Lawrence is 37-0 on Saturdays since he started playing football. He started playing football at Cartersville High School in Georgia. He went 32-0. At Clemson, he was 2-0. He's 3-0. Sorry, on Saturdays at Cartersville. I should read it correctly. In college, Clemson, he went 32-0. We all know that, especially if we've followed Trevor Lawrence's career. And then 2-0 within the past 2 weeks with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now it says here, but most important part of that winning streak is he's trying to extend it to 38-0 by beating Kansas City in Arrowhead this weekend. Lawrence was asked about it. He says it is what it is. I don't really think about that. I don't think about how we've got to win this game, to keep going, to keep playing, to keep our season alive. So that's what I'm thinking about. Good for him. He's not on this stat at all. It doesn't matter. The pundits, the analysts, that's who's on this stat. Do they think that he can actually extend it? It goes on to, his 2 victories against Tennessee and the Chargers. The Chargers was a comeback, remember? It was a 31-30. He threw 4 interceptions in the first half to throw 4 touchdowns. Can he do that against the Chiefs in Kansas City, in the second toughest house in my opinion, of all the different arenas that NFL teams play in? And like I said, number 1, I still believe is Seattle. I'm going to pick Kansas City. And the score will be, hold on, I got to get this underline out. There we go. The score will be going to go a little high because I think this is the defenses won't show up, at least for the most part, until the very end. So I'm going to go 35-28. We'll do a 7-point game. I really think that's the gist of that. All right. So we're going to go to this, and I'm going to go to a different post. So we get the Giants at the Eagles. Now there was a article on the Long Branch Eatontown patch. Okay. Now I know maybe people in Northern Jersey or Southern Jersey don't know Long Branch or Eatontown. It's the 2 towns in Monmouth County. Eatontown is where I grew up. So this patch staff writer Dino Siliberti wrote yesterday. Anyone who believes that the Philadelphia Eagles should cruise by the New York Giants in Saturday's playoff game on their way to the championship to think again. I agree with that. It's can't take us for granted. That's for sure. These G-men aren't the rollover, play dead Giants that we know and love. These Giants are formidable opponents. They must be taken seriously. Quarterback Daniel Jones is no longer the stumbling, bumbling fool who fell short of the end zone a couple years back, making endless highlight reels and causing endless belly laughter. He's turned into the NFC version of Josh Allen. And you know what? I've been saying that for 2 weeks, that he's, especially given his height, given his look, he's basically the next Josh Allen. Anybody at Kerry knows I said that. So this guy, he's actually on point on that. Okay, maybe not the elite level, which, I had to knock someone down on that. He's not elite yet, and he knows what I'm talking about. Though some Giants threw that word around last week. Oh, well, if the Giant players did it, they're idiots. I get that it's their boy, but he's not elite. And beating Minnesota. And he goes on to about coaching, the Dable and being the coach, blah, blah, blah. Now, what got me was this quote right here. He said, "It wasn't a surprise that the Giants pulled off the upset against Vikings last week. Kirk Cousins always chokes and the Vikings never get that far in the playoffs. But it will be a surprise if the Giants beat the Eagles," he said. "The Birds took both the games this season. It's often difficult to beat a team for the third time in one season." Hold up. Stop. He's wrong. He did not do his research on that statement. The Giants have done that multiple times in their franchise history. Multiple times. We did it to Dallas. We did it to the Eagles. We've beaten multiple teams in our division multiple times. It's at least 4 or 5. I can think of 2 off the top of my head from 2007, 2011. So I know it's happened. To say it's not or it can't happen is facetious, ignorant. But I've been going back and forth with this. Obviously, I have to stand up. I'm a Giant fan. I'm wearing Weatherford today. My heart is with the Giants straight up. All day, all night. That's how I live, okay? My head, I have to think. So, obviously, we looked bad week 14. We just weren't there. Daniel Jones had a bad game. Barkley, I don't think, was even playing that day. Now we go to week 18. One fact, yes, we lost. Second fact, not one starting player played. And what did we lose by? 6? The Eagles only scored 22 points on our second string players. And now they've had 2 weeks to practice for whoever they thought they might get. And they had to know that the Giants would possibly beat the Vikings. So in my mind, they were already looking to go after him. And by the way, I did want to state this. I digress. Going backwards real quick, but I did have to call this guy out, and I put this on Facebook just a little bit ago. I wrote to the writer of this. I said, "Your assessment of Cousins' lack of winning in pressure moments is common knowledge, to say the least. But to say because the Eagles won 2 games that they played this season, to quote you, the Birds took both games during the season. It's often difficult to beat a team the third time this season." I said, "Seriously? You don't know your NFL history, or chose not to Google it. The Giants franchise has done this scenario multiple times in their franchise history. Check out my podcast, Chazz Says Anything. I'll say it at 11 a.m. And like I said it. So I called this guy out on that statement, on that one little, it's barely a paragraph, but you got to know what you got to know. You want to write, and I've been watching some of these writers and reading some of what they wrote. Very few, except for like The Athletic, they write perfectly. The Athletic is really good. The rest of them, my English teacher, Mrs. Harvey, would be going nuts on some of these people, how they write. I mean, it's 3rd, 4th grade conjunctions and adjectives instead of adverbs. It's ridiculous how these people write. Nevertheless, I'm kind of venting. So, to my pick, I was this close to going to Philly, this close, because how they could play. But I'm going Giants. And that underline thing again. Okay, so it's going to be close. Flat out going to be close. And they're going to score. I mean, think about it. How are you going to stop Daniel Jones running? If he sees 2 or 3, seconds in the pocket and there's nobody open, he's going to run. He's figured it out. They've told him. I can almost imagine that they've told him to run. You've seen it in play that he's done since basically week 15. So I'm going to say Giants. 27. What I did at? Okay, I must have not. 27. And 20. Not sure if Jake's going to get involved in the kicking game unless he misses a field goal, which is going to make my loving fiance upstairs irate that Jake misses a field goal. But I feel in my gut that the missed field goal is going to happen in his home, on his home field, and there might be some anger, some vitriol, and I will try to get it on video tonight, just so you know, for everybody to see. I know she'll probably say no. She'll probably yell at me, but I'm going to say Giants 27-24. That's not a homer pick. I did think about it. That's my assessment. All right. Cincinnati and Buffalo. This is a tough one. Seriously. This is you would have thought 2 weeks ago would have fixed it, and it didn't. That game being suspended and canceled, it didn't really solidify who's the better team. Obviously, we saw Cincinnati winning, but would they have won? We don't know. Buffalo has a lot on their side. They have a good team. You've heard me talk about Josh Allen for months on end. If you know me before the podcast, I've been talking about Josh Allen. I have to think that Buffalo's going to eke this out on sentiment alone. So I'm going to go Buffalo. Sorry. One of these days I'll get this figured out. Buffalo. This might be another field goal game because, it's supposed to be colder. It's supposed to be a little windy. It's windy here in Jersey. So the conditions may not be for going for a very high scoring game. But I know how Josh Allen plays. I know Burrow. You can't keep Burrow out of any conversation of being winning a game. So I know this is a higher number. It's probably going to be lower, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Buffalo 28-24. All right. Now, the Dallas and San Francisco tomorrow night. Man, so I've already picked the Giants, right? I'd love it if we played Dallas. Oh, my God. I would love it if we played Dallas. Going to Dallas as a Giants fan, losing to them twice would answer the same thing I was talking about with Philly. It would almost be like apropos for the Giants to beat Philly and then beat Dallas in their homes. It's almost storybook. So you'd have 2007, you'd have 2011, then now obviously you have 2022. So, that would be interesting if that could happen. Unfortunately, that book's not going to get written. San Francisco's tough. San Francisco is legit. San Francisco probably could beat any AFC team at any given time. as like in the rest of these other 3 NFC teams that are in. I'm not sure they can beat any NFC team, AFC team. San Francisco can, and I think San Francisco takes care of Dallas. San Fran. Okay, it says later. So San Francisco. I don't think Dallas scores. I think Dak might revert back to, old Dak, and the San Francisco defense it's swarming. Dak may not score more than a touchdown at most. Dallas fans, you're gonna kill me on this. I know, I can see it already. You're not scoring more than 14 points. I'm gonna go 31-14. 31-14. I don't see it. It has nothing to do with this has nothing to do with my heart. The vitriol that I have for Dallas and their owner. It has nothing to do with that. It's up here. And from what I've seen with these teams, yes, they had a great game against Tampa Bay, a declining GOAT. I just don't see it. I see it ending. And it's like, honestly, with the Giants game, I can see Philadelphia win. With this game, I can't see Dallas winning at all. So, San Francisco, I think you're winning, and you got the Giants coming to you. Talk about a flash of the past with going back to those Montana days, and then young days when we used to be back there. Of course, if you're my age, 46, you remember those days. So, all right, those are my picks. I got Kansas City and Buffalo. So now remember this: if Kansas City and Buffalo do face each other, if that's an actual thing that actually happens today, remember they go to a neutral site next week for the AFC Championship. And if I'm correct, the neutral site's Atlanta. So if Cincinnati wins, they go to Kansas City. If Jacksonville wins, it'll go to either Buffalo or Cincinnati. But if it's Kansas City and Buffalo, they go to Atlanta. All right, so that's my picks. Next show is Monday. I will go over all the NFL divisional winners. And how many more days until baseball starts? Seriously. So that's all for me. I'm a little over time, and that's fine. All right. I'll talk to everybody soon. Have a good weekend, and go Giants.